Hey everybody. I'm done with the box right now. I had a couple of issues, so I had to fix up some stuff, and unfortunately I had to sacrifice the volume knobs because of the shitty quality of volume knobs that I bought, unfortunately. Having known that, I would have paid more to get something better, but anyways, it doesn't really matter. At least it makes some sound now, some stable sounds. So I'm gonna basically take you through a quick run through of the device, and this is obviously just a huge prototype that I've built into a box because I can't really like work on custom PCBs for now and stuff, but just to prove a point. It's a how do you call it, a proof of concept, let's say. So basically we have a 6-voice square wave oscillator box with a master control. So basically the way it's shaped right now, I'm like facing that way, so each one of those rows, columns I mean, is one voice, and each voice has identical controls. As you can see, they're all pretty much identical. So from top to bottom, let me show you what it is. On the top there's a selector switch with 6 steps. This selects different capacitors to basically controls the different ranges of oscillation. It goes from audible range all the way down to very low percussive range. Second top is unfortunately the dead volume knob that doesn't really work, but for some reason right now only this one works to control the master volume, and it doesn't even go all the way quiet or not. So I usually just keep it all the way into this direction more or less, and it just works. So once I found that I fucked around until it worked properly, I left it there. I don't give a shit why. So let's forget about the top row for now. All these 6 ones, forget about them. Moving on, we have the general pitch knob, or the coarse pitch knob I like to call it. This is basically what controls the pitch of each oscillator is. And the second knob is a fine tune that has a very smaller window of pitch adjustment or frequency adjustment for the oscillator. Here we have an input which basically connects to the 2 points in parallel to the 2 resistances that control the pitch. So basically this is kind of to modulate the pitches or the frequencies from other ones. So basically each one of those you can connect to any other one to kind of control. I've already tested with my 3.5mm cable. The only one I have is a stereo, but this is actually mono, so if you have a mono it'll work as well. So yeah, basically you just connect one to the other, kind of changes timings and stuff like that. I'll show you a little bit more when we do the audio test. But basically these are 6 patch points, you could call them. And then we have a switch over here. Now this switch basically controls whether the voice of the oscillator is going to be momentary on this push button. If I push it, it makes some sound, and or I switch it up and it'll just be on, so then you can hear it. And so same thing for each one. So finally we have the master control, a master volume, which actually does work somewhat. Then we have the same switch button combo that we have on each voice to control the master output, whether it's momentary like this with the push button or constant out. So that's pretty much it for the controls. Pretty fairly simple, but it's really cool the way you can kind of fuck around and stuff. And basically the idea is that each voice is a square wave with different pitches, different frequencies, and when you kind of start layering one on top of the other, they kind of start to phase out certain parts and amplify other parts, especially when you go a little bit detuned from each other. Obviously you have completely unlimited control over the pitch. There's no steps or anything, so you can really get crazy and distorted and unscalable sounds. So yeah, so let's actually start doing some sounds. So basically each one starts in the bottom position of the selector like this, and there we go. And let's start with the first one. So I don't know if you can hear this. I'm gonna turn it up like this. I hope you can hear this. So basically this is the pitch, like I said. have this control, and then I have the fine control. If I want to tune it like a little bit finer to kind of modulate with something else. And then I have to kind of play around like that with. So let's check out the different ranges. So this is the highest one, and then you go lower. So you see it's got a nice square wave bass sound. Let's go for the next one. So you see now it's starting to go into the percussive side. And last one. So you see very, very low frequency oscillation. I guess you can kind of play around like this. Maybe not really, but anyways. So you see this is basically the control of one single voice. Now let's try two together. So it's really out of tune, it's really shitty, but let's try and tune it together. So right now it's completely in tune, almost based on what I can hear, but I actually like to detune it a little bit so it kind of phase shifts like that and cancels each other out. And the beauty of this is that it's so unstable that it kind of modulates and cuts out different like timings and stuff, so that really generates a type of randomality that I really enjoy in these kinds of machines. Let's try a third one. So I really like that actually. So that's really fun, you can kind of play around. Alright, let's look at something else. So obviously the more you layer voices together, the more crazy it's going to become, especially since it's not that stable, so it's really going to get distorted and phase out between each other, and you can maybe even get it to like not sound anything at all because everything's phasing out everything else. So let's try that just for fun. So you see, you can barely hear anything because everything else is phasing out. So let's say I like the sound and I want to kind of make it sequence. The way I do that is I start layering other oscillators with very low oscillation timing. So let's say I take this. So you see I can kind of control. Let's try another one. And this really comes in handy once you start to modulate one with another, because it really helps getting crazy timings and stuff. Once you find a BPM for that, could be pretty interesting. Now, of course, you can't really play live with this too much unless you're really looking for something off timing and stuff, but it's also cool to record into your DAW and just like cut up certain cool sections and stuff and use that into your production. That's kind of what I was envisioning this box would be for, to really add some random noises that are very unique and that kind of express themselves rather than you forcing them to express themselves your way. So it's pretty fun. I haven't tried to like dual patch anything yet, but I'll definitely try that soon. I don't have another cable. I have this that I was quite interested in trying out. But I see even like this. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you can put like a filter on it, delay. Let's try a filter and a delay actually. Oh, actually I don't have it running through the computer, okay. Okay, now it's running through Ableton. And this is just a basic auto filter. Try band filter. That sounds really nice actually. Band filter with this. Let's try delay. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Kind of to give you an idea. Really interesting sounds to sample out of and reuse them inside a sampler or something to create a new instrument or something. The wave shapes are pretty interesting too, especially when you do some modulation like this.